Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I'm gonna be talking about needles. Now, I did a needle video a long time ago, probably like a couple months ago, or maybe a little bit longer. If you search on my channel, you should probably find it. It's where I talk about Concord style, Ortofon versus a Shure M44-7, which is a legendary needle used by all DJs at least one point in time, and still being used by most DJs. Now, if you're trying to get some good needles and you're looking around, you might have seen that you could actually get the M447 for about $100 already mounted to the head shell. Therefore, you don't gotta, finicky around or whatever. Unmounted, you're looking at about $60. But my buddy Bro T actually made a purchase the other day on some needles, and he got the Ortofon, the Serato ones, the S-120s, I believe. But he didn't get them Concord style. He actually got them mounted to a head shell, already pre-mounted. Now, he paid $105 for each one of these, straight from Guitar Center. So, say online you're looking at, you're looking at about 100, about the same price, $3 difference for the most part, right? And they're both already mounted. And what I do like is that they come with this cool little, Ortofon head shell, which is actually nice and heavy. In my hands, holding them like this, the Ortofon is definitely heavier. But that being said, you're gonna have to, mess with the weight on your tone arm and all that to make it nice. That way it lasts a long time. Now, these do take the same styluses as all Ortofon needles do, so you don't absolutely have to get the same one for this. And no, this is not just for Serato. You could use these for Tractor or for Virtual DJ as well, or Mixed Vibes or Torque or whatever you're on as far as DVS. I know when these first came out, people thought that these were just for Serato, but in general, these were actually made more for all time code, because I guess supposedly it stays in the groove of a time coded record better. But we're not gonna be testing it with time code today. Now, I'm gonna be testing it with real vinyl, and as all DJs who have turntables, and if you have turntables and you just have DVS or whatever, I highly suggest you go out and start collecting records, because it's nice to have, and it is a whole different experience. Even if you just have one turntable, all DJs, I suggest you go out and get a record collection. It's just a nice thing to have, and it can get a little addicting, I guess. So yeah, as you can see, this is not my usual setup. This is actually, and you actually see the 400 here. You can see what the fuck, you got, different tables or whatever. These are actually my boy Bro T's as well. He picked these up, but he, is still gonna pick up a mixer and still needs to pick up Serato box, so he literally can't use them. So he brought them over when he got them, so we could mess around with them, and they've been here ever since. So I've been taking care of them and babysitting them for a while, and I can't complain. They're nice to look at every morning. I still have my other turntables or whatnot. The 400, okay, so I'm 2 subscribers away from 500, and as you guys are seeing, or have seen the video, I'm giving away this mixer. No, it's not skinned out yet, but please believe me, I've actually been designing the skin. So wait on me, just wait on me a little bit, because I want to make the build for this when I put the Inno fader in it, and the new up faders in it. I want to make it its own video series. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm gonna give it away right at 500 subscribers. It might be 510 by the time it's finished. I want it to be perfect. I don't want to send whoever wins it shit, and I have figured out how I am gonna do the contest for that. But I'll probably repeat what I just said in a video later on today after this one. So yeah, okay, so let's get into it. How am I gonna test these? Well, real vinyl, I'm gonna keep all the dials the same. As you can see, the 3-band EQ is gonna be straight at flat. I'm going to keep the master straight at flat, but I'm going to keep the trim because, Pioneer mixers are pretty sensitive when it comes to the trim, and there's not going to be no redlining here. So I'm going to play the record, and I'm actually going to play a couple different types of records because some records are more loud than others and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just going to play the records, and you're going to hear how they sound, and it's not going to sound the same as, through your computer speakers that... instead of through my ears, because of course the microphone on a camera is not as good as how it would be in person, but hopefully you can hear a difference. So yeah, let's get into it. Now we're gonna start off with the M44-7. Keep in mind though, this is not a new stylus. Let me clean off the record. This is not a new stylus. It has been used and actually is pretty soon gonna be on its way out. So keep that in mind. I haven't had a chance to pick up a new stylus anytime soon, or anytime recently, I mean, so yeah, bear with me. Let me line this bad boy up.
Queen B, the notorious B.I.G., the best that ever lived, the best that ever did it, the best that ever lived it. That's how we do it, y'all.
Now up next is the Ortofon. I actually like the way these look compared to the Concord style, compared to, you know, these other Ortofons. I kind of like how they're mounted to the head shell. I don't know, I just think they look cool, and plus, to be honest, you really don't see that around too. You really don't see a lot of people with those, so let me line this bad boy up. And I really like the head shell on it. It's very easy to grab, and it's not a big difference, but yeah.
Queen B, the notorious B.I.G., the best that ever lived, the best that ever did it, the best that ever lived it. That's how we do it, y'all.
Now, I don't know if you could hear that on camera. And it also could be the fact that these Ortofons are new and haven't been used at all. But you could definitely hear the age in the stylus of the M44-7. But nevertheless, I don't know the specs on these needles, and I don't know, you know, how much amplification that they actually have and whatnot. But the Ortofon is real, like, just a little bit louder and sounds a little bit cleaner, to be honest. And that could just be because the stylus is dirty. So let's change it up. Let me put on my other Ortofon needle, because that one is used as well, and you know, is not a new stylus and is almost about as dirty. So let's see a difference, and then we'll test out the M447 as well. If I could get it in. There it is.
Queen B,
No?
the notorious B.I.G.,
Notorious.
the best that ever
Rest in
lived,
peace,
the best
Biggie.
that ever did it, the best that ever lived it. What's his name, huh? That's how.
Important, fellas, put your records back in the sleeves, especially if it's a record that you care about or want to keep. Now, if it's a warped record that you could care less about, do what you want with it. But records like this, man, nice and clean, you gotta keep them like that, you know what I'm saying? Now hopefully you can kind of see a difference between the needles. Like I said, again, I'm recording through a camera, and the microphones on, you know, cameras aren't the greatest. Well, I'm not using any type of upgraded microphone or anything, so hopefully you can kind of catch that, and it was a little bit not too bad, I guess you could say. But I definitely heard a difference. Now, keep in mind though, my M447 is used, and that is brand new. So I am going to be doing a needle comparison with a whole bunch of different types of needles as well. I'm going to add some, you know, statins in there as well, because, and, you know, a couple of Newmark's needles as well, to do a real full needle battle royale. But for that video, I will make sure that every single needle has a new stylus. That Serato needle, that Ortofon Serato needle, man, it does sound nice, and I did use it a little bit with time code, and it is a solid needle. I still prefer my M447's, only reason being, you got to keep in mind, when you have needles, you have styluses. You have, you know, when you have a cartridge, you have a styli or stylus, whatever you like to call it. Keep in mind the price of replacement styluses. Keep in mind, Ortofons are 50 bucks. M447 replacement styluses are 30. So keep that in mind. If you have a pair and say they both go out, or they're on their way out, and you plan to replace the styli, is going to cost you $100 for Ortofons. $100 to just replace the styli. You know, compared to $60 on an M447. Now, M447s are like a technique. They're legendary. Everybody uses them. They're built solid, and they do what they do. And that's exactly that. So you can't go wrong with that. But that being said as well, you can't go wrong with those, I feel. Those are solid. I remember when I was seeing them around, I actually heard a couple of people having more trouble with those than their M447. Now this is just a test on real vinyl. When I do that needle battle royale, I will definitely have real vinyl and DVS, and that I'm gonna try to make that video short and sweet to the point, but it's gonna be hard to do that as well. If you don't want to be like everybody else, you know, and you want some different types of needles, then yeah, go ahead and pick up those Ortofon Serato, the S-120s. They're Andi Mac approved. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. I don't know what I'm doing. Peace.
Andi Mac, motherfucker.